So I continue to hear from my coaching community and also my girlfriends and other folks beyond that, that last week kicked off grief for them and that they're still grieving. They're even saying they're in certain phases of grief. And you're probably thinking, how can I manage through the grief? If you're concerned that positive psychology is going to say, just think positive, I have news for you. It actually doesn't. There's something called post traumatic growth. And the perspective is how we look to this pain that we're feeling, the anxiety, and it really emphasizes how we seek meaning in the midst of the trauma. This is your willingness to reach for hope and resilience and strength through a troubling time. You may recognize, if you read the tea leaves, that this grief may not just happen once. It may smolder. There may be several losses that happen. And part of your perspective is anticipating what could come down the line. Well, let me give you a little bit of insight here. Try to think about what's happening now and focus in that moment. This is where mindfulness comes in. Try to remain in the moment without judgment and embrace the emotions that you may be feeling. Take the time to try to articulate what those emotions are, because many of them may be complicated. And I'm going to challenge you to use feeling words. If you do that, you'll be able to foster that emotional agility that we've been talking about so far. Now, there's one more thing to know. If you're experiencing loss over and over again, researchers recognize you can end up back in the grief cycle. Sometimes they call it chronic grief. Be aware that you may not just cycle through the grief in a linear way. You may have cumulative grief over time. This is your opportunity to offer yourself some grace. If you need to stop doing what you're doing and take a break, not just for an hour or a minute or two, maybe you need to take that PTO. Consider it. Give yourself the grace to be home one day and do things that aren't productive. Because I'll tell you what's happening to me. I'm finding it hard to be creative. Even though I have improved, I've moved past the initial shock and even the anger and even the tears. And I'm able to sit at work and operate. My creativity is not there yet. Let me share with you why. You must have a calm mind in order to focus. And if you can't focus, you can't get to insight. And insight is the gateway to creativity. So I challenge you to take a pause, take a beat, however long your body is telling you to do so. Regain your focus by doing whatever you can to get to the calm mind. If that means that you're under covers watching Netflix for a whole day, sis, give yourself the grace. I'll see you online.